Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to completely flip the script on how you view emotions in the modern workplace. For decades, the standard corporate advice has basically been to check your feelings at the door. We've been told that emotions are irrational, unpredictable, and totally at odds with true professionalism. But what if that exact mindset is precisely what's breaking our work culture today?
Let's kick things off with a pretty massive reality check. According to the Gallup 2025 report, just 13% of European workers are actively engaged in their work. 13%. That is a shockingly low number of people who actually feel connected to what they do every day. And it gets rougher. Meanwhile, a staggering 38% of workers are dealing with high levels of daily stress. So almost 4 out of 10 people are lugging around this heavy, exhausting emotional backpack every single time they clock in.
Which brings us to our third reality: 37% of employees are actively looking for the exit sign and seeking a new job. This isn't just some tiny HR hiccup, right? It's a full-blown engagement crisis, and it's driven entirely by how we feel, or rather, how we're told we shouldn't feel at work.
So, how do we fix it? Well, psychologist Gianpietro Buiati hit the nail on the head. He points out that emotions aren't just background noise that we should tune out. They're actually our internal GPS. They're a true navigation system that we persistently and detrimentally ignore.
Moving on to Section 1, Reason versus Emotion. To actually use this emotional GPS, we have to bust the biggest myth in corporate history: the false opposition between reason and emotion.
The hard neuroscience over the last 30 years has decisively proven that without emotional input, every single option just seems the same. Without feelings to help you weigh outcomes, decision-making actually becomes paralyzing. Emotions don't disrupt your rationality. They are literally what makes decisions possible in the first place. Section 2, the invisible web and how emotions spread. You see, ignoring your feelings isn't just bad for your own individual choices. It's dangerous for the whole organization. Emotions operate as this invisible web that connects your entire team.
It boils down to two concepts. First, effective events theory shows us that it's the tiny, everyday emotional micro-events that actually drive our behavior and job satisfaction. Second, there's emotional contagion. It's exactly what it sounds like. Leaders literally infect their teams with their own stress or motivation, totally under the radar, below the threshold of awareness.
Which brings us to Section 3, a shift in paradigm. Because emotions drive our logic and spread like wildfire, we absolutely must change how we handle these powerful biological signals. We've got to step away from the damaging instinct of managing or suppressing how we feel. Telling yourself, "I shouldn't be feeling this," just shoves the emotion into the shadows where it does more damage. Instead, we need to transition to accepting and accompanying them. We should be asking, "Okay, I am feeling this right now. What information is it giving me?" That is true emotional literacy.
Section 4, the 3 workplace signals. Let's make this practical and look at the 3 most frequent emotions we run into at work. Instead of seeing these as problems, look at them as signals. Fear? That's just a perceived threat to your competence. It's a prompt to verify something. Anger signals that something important was violated, like a boundary or a sense of justice. And sadness usually points to the loss of an expectation, like a project falling through, and it just needs a little space to be processed.
Section 5, the impact on our energies. So, what happens if we refuse to read these signals and suppress them instead? Well, the damage ripples through all 4 dimensions of human energy, starting right with our mental cognition. It literally drains the brain power you need for actual problem solving. Furthermore, it absolutely tanks our emotional energy. You need intentional emotional literacy to nurture and sustain your baseline well-being over time.
Second, and this is huge, unacknowledged emotions become somatized. They drain your physical energy. Your body physically carries the muscular and cardiovascular weight that your mind refuses to process. You literally carry unprocessed workplace stress in your muscles. And third, it deeply impacts our spiritual energy. By ignoring emotions, we disconnect ourselves from the deeper values and meaning that truly matter to us. We lose our inner compass. Section 6, the 4 pillars of happiness. Okay, so how do we rebuild these energies and successfully accompany our emotions?
We can lean on the 4 pillars of the science of happiness. Plus being is all about self-awareness. Plus we treats the emotional climate as a shared responsibility.
plus discipline is building regular practices to stay healthy. And finally, plus positive chemistry relies on biology. For example, affect labeling, simply putting your feelings into words, literally reduces amygdala activation and turns your logical brain back on. It's science.
So here is the ultimate takeaway. Emotions are the very fabric of our working life. They are the lever for resilience, performance, and true engagement. Since you now know these feelings are vital biological data points, my final question to you is, are you ready to finally listen to your internal GPS?